Welcome to
Hey,
breaking news.
we are back. And for 2 weeks in a row now, we actually figured out how to stream live into the ClickFunnels official group. We are, 2 hours early today because of pressing obligations that both Madison and I have later in the day. But we did not want to leave our adoring fans hanging by not being come in here today and have Madison fill your brain full of intelligent stuff.
All
Notice I
two
didn't
of
say
you.
me because that would never happen. And if I got this right, I've been writing down on my wall over here, well, on a board, not on the actual wall because I don't have any crayons. But this looks like this is week 10. 10 weeks now for this season that we've been doing here. This is like our third season. But that brings up a point that this is like our third season because we
We'll be
started
in
doing.
syndication soon.
Yes, we're going to be right after Gilligan's Island at 5 o'clock on channel 492. And, but we started doing these shows probably 3 years ago when they formed the ambassador program. And it's funny, I was having a conversation with Rob Schwartz one day, and he's like, how did the ambassador program start? And I go, and who started it? And I'm just like, I really don't remember.
Right.
But I do remember that Madison and I were two of the very first ambassadors, and I think
No, you don't remember correctly.
You what?
I think it was just you, Susan, Andrea, because then like me and Adam and James Cran maybe was in the first group.
Possibly. I don't know, but we had our first meeting at Funnel Hacking Live in Orlando in September of 23.
Yes. So I was at that one, but there's a group of like you, Susan, and Andrea, I think James, were about 4 months before they like officially deemed us all.
Yeah. But I still don't remember who was doing it because it wasn't Danny Walsh, because that was pre-Danny Walsh at that point too. So I don't really know. But the point of the story here is in September of 23, we were all down in Florida together. And AI had just kind of started coming out, I guess, really about in March when everybody really started talking about AI, even though it's been around since the mid-teens.
Yep.
And maybe even, some people say even probably long before that when you're talking about supercomputers and stuff. But we all came home with COVID, and we were all sick as a dog for a month. And then in like the first week of November, they at ClickFunnels decided to have something called the funnel games.
Yep.
And the thing with the funnel games was Russell had a sales page. Or
it was only certified partners. So only Funnel Builder program, the OGs at the time.
Okay, so FBC at the time in November 23. And we were tasked with creating an opt-in page, or maybe it was a sales page before the actual checkout page. I forget exactly, because I don't think we had an opt-in form on it. So I think we just had a button, went to the actual sales page, and it was coming from an ad. So they were running a bunch of ads, driving traffic to our landing page. Yep. Somebody would watch what's on the landing page, hit the button, go to the next page, and purchase.
Yep.
Now, at the time, I was working with Susan and Andrea and Nicole as well. And so the four of us together, we started working on this project. I was writing the script for a video and all this kind of stuff. And I said, hey, I know Madison's been playing around with a bunch of AI video stuff. We should get her involved, and we should make like a holiday-themed video with a talking person that looks like Santa Claus. Very similar. The person you're going to see here in this video, I thought was absolutely perfect for this role. And what it was doing is an animated video, which they then also, ClickFunnels gave us a video that Russell had his team make of the selling. It was Magnetic Marketing at the time, announcing the fact that Russell had purchased Dan Kennedy's company and was selling Magnetic Marketing. And so I thought, I had an idea of like, oh, why don't we create a narrator who then will tell a story, and then we'll splice in parts of this video. Now, the outcome of the whole thing was that our team collectively, now it was 5 of us, our team collectively came in technically second place, but because it was how many people landed on the landing page, or on the checkout page, I think. is what it was. But technically,
Yes.
our team had more purchases than anyone else, including Russell's team.
Yep.
So we actually had more purchases than Russell's team, but Brooke Giroux actually won the competition because she had the most people. Because I mean, she did something very important. She had very high congruity between the ad and the opt-in page. So very similar colors, very similar theme. We did not do that. We went because it was November. We were like, okay, we're going to do a holiday
All the way
theme for
different.
this thing. So we did not have that congruity, that match between the ad and the page that they landed on. And I forgot to pull up a copy of the page because that would have made a lot more sense too. And I completely forgot to do that. But point of this whole matter is this is fall of 23. Madison, working with, she'll tell you what software is here in a minute, created what I thought was out of my mind incredible, because they took a script I wrote and made this man speak it, and it blew me away at the time. Now, I mean, we see this all the time now, but this is 2023. And so Madison the other day says, hey, how about we just update this thing?
Yeah, let's see what AI can do now.
Okay, I have no idea. So now I'm going to shut up and let Madison tell you about how she worked all of her magic to make all this happen.
So I kind of want to tell a little bit of a backstory here. And I'm going to actually, let's see how I want to do this first. So kind of the way that this all came about was actually my father. And he found this piece of like a gear broken in the field, and he was going to do this whole story about that. It was the magical click of ClickFunnels. And we had just started to use like ChatGPT and things like that. Make sure I'm also sharing my audio. And so we have this guy right here is what started absolutely all of it. Now, this is the raw video. I couldn't actually find the actual video. This is just the raw talking head part. And
gather round, my friends, for a tale that hails from the rolling fields of Central Oregon.
And at this point, we thought this thing was cool, right? Like, and then I obviously took it in Premiere Pro, and I found some kind of like animation to animate the smoke and flicker the flame in the camera in the lantern, and ran with it and thought it was pretty cool. And that obviously then played into this one, which is, maybe a lot of you guys have probably seen this. No, go back.
That's the problem when you try to pull up this old stuff, because half of these platforms are deprecated, or they took all your stuff down or whatever. You can't even find it anymore.
Yeah. So this one became one that was played in Secrets of Success, kind of about Russell when that was launching.
I come to tell you a story of one man, known by many simply as the Seeker, who possessed an insatiable hunger for knowledge and a relentless drive.
So at the time, this was like the coolest thing that could be done with AI. Like, and using Midjourney images to create these images, and then using HeyGen to actually animate them. And kind of towards the end of that year, came out and taught a group of people how to do this.
Folks. You're about to embark on a journey where words weave magic and in stories spark wonder. In a world brimming with tales, there lies an untold secret, the art of storytelling, intertwined with the marvel of AI.
Imagine harnessing the power of ancient narratives.
But as you can see, we just have the head talking, basically.
Yeah, basically, right? It's a still image with sort of the mouth moving. And what software do you use for the voice on here? I forget. Was that HeyGen?
I'll pretty much always use 11 Labs.
Oh, 11 Labs. That's right. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. I pretty much have always used 11 Labs. Okay. And then, oh shoot, I was like, Dan, I prepared today, and it turns out there's some things I was missing. Let me just remove this for a second. Let me just open up. So obviously, a lot of people kind of found out about this AI video stuff. I thought it kind of became uncool a little bit. I didn't want to do that one. And I kind of forgot about it, basically. And what kind of spurred this on is I had a child and I started seeing all of these babies talking. And I was like, well, Funnel Baby can talk. So I created this. Oops, and it's muted. Hold on. Unmute.
Hoping I'll convince myself.
Well, let it loop.
Might want to start over.
This funnel feels like it's hoping I'll convince myself.
And so Funnel Baby doesn't hold anything back.
Yeah.
And so this is kind of what spurred on to be like, wow, there really has been big changes when it comes to AI video, what you're able to create. Now, previously in other things, it was like 5 seconds. And 5 seconds is honestly way too short to do anything with, in my opinion. So,
well, I was going to say, even if you use something like Sora, even though I think that's been now closed down or soon will be closed down or something, you still can't get more than 8 to maybe 12 seconds of video. Unlike what we needed in the narration like this, we need 20, 30 seconds.
Yeah. Yep. And that was the beauty with HeyGen at the time, like being able to animate these videos. It gave 20 some seconds or 2 minutes and 20 seconds of footage. The other thing that came with this that realized is like, you watch this long enough and you can realize it's fake. And really, really fake.
Well, I never for a second, I mean, obviously I was in the production of our video, but we weren't trying to kid anybody that it was real. I mean, you clearly look at this and it's not real, but it still doesn't make it any less cool. In fact, I think something like the video that we shot and the new rendition of it I think that would work better for marketing than me looking at it. Because I see a video now that looks like a person and I'm just looking at it and go, okay, is that real or not?
Yeah.
And 9 times out of 10 now, it's not real. And you can eventually figure it out because something glitches, or you can just see that it's just not right. I mean, it just has a certain shine to it or something. So my attitude is I'd rather have somebody that is not real. There's a commercial on TV right now for like some sort of hoodie. And it's a guy, and then at the end, they bring in a Native American woman, older woman. You can clearly see that they're both AI, but they're trying to make you think that they're real people. Right. It's like, one or the other. Don't like go down the middle.
So now we'll kind of show, and I'm actually we'll play a little bit of this, and then I'll mute this. So this is one of the videos that was on the sales page. I think. Or there's one of the iterations of the videos.
And if anybody wants to see these videos, there's a couple versions of it. Go to my YouTube channel, which is YouTube/Dan Havey, and just put in Kennedy, and there's a couple examples in there.
On a ghostly marketing journey where the spirits of the past, present, and future have now converged. Our tale begins in the hallowed halls of history with the ghost of marketing past. Behold, Dan Kennedy, a marketing master who journeyed through the world of direct response advertising, leaving a lasting legacy in the realm of marketing. His timeless wisdom, recorded for all ages, knows no bounds of time or era. Dan is known to millions, but just on the off chance you have never heard.
So for this video, and I'm going to actually come up here and mute this so we can talk over it. I had to do a couple things, right? So I had to come in here and add the snow. I also had to play with the background. So to create that movement to kind of trick your eye. And that's kind of some of the stuff that just came from working and doing these and trying to figure out, like, how can you make it look more realistic? Because I mean, all you can see is it's just
I never noticed that before. That you're right. The background is like he's moving into the background, kind of a Twilight Zone kind of thing going on here. But I also remember when you built this. I mean, first off, you can clearly see the head moving and the body staying still. So talk about that in a minute. But also, I remember you must be a wider shot we have later on where you
I think it's a different
actually
video.
had to go in and like make the candles flicker.
Oh, yes.
In it
Yeah.
as well. And that
Yep.
all had to be done individually.
Yeah. Yep. And I then ultimately went through and kind of puppeteered him just a little bit with his hands. But yeah, you can see there's just the littlest of flickers. And this one may not be, it may be on a different one. It's like I said.
Well, in here you could definitely see that the face and the head are moving independent of the beard. In this one. Now, again, everybody remember, this was 2.5 years ago. This was November of 23, in case you're all just joining us now.
Yep. And we went through and we obviously then came to like different parts of it and kind of played a little bit with the aspect ratio to kind of make it look a little more cinematic, just trying to get as close as we could. And as you can see, basically it is just here that moves. His head moves a little bit, and here's the other thing: these were super
definitely
glitchy.
the head's definitely going back and forth like that. You
Yeah.
must have it tilting somehow.
That was Heijen, because we can actually come over. Did I leave it open? Would have been smart of me to have left it open. And then I kind of had to do some different things where I had to pull him out so that I could do that with the background of the video.
Okay.
But as you can see, Avatar 2 years ago.
Gather round as we embark on a ghostly marketing journey.
So as you can see here, there's nothing happening in the background with the snow. So that's how I kind of had to pull him out and then basically layer that on top, which allowed me to do different.
Now, what did you start with for the character? Did you just have like a picture of the guy's face? Did you have the whole? Oh, you generated this image actually probably in Midjourney at the time.
Yes, correct. Yep.
Okay, so the entire image with the background and everything was generated in Midjourney. Okay.
Yep. And then basically put in the script. If it's gonna pull, it won't pull. But and then just. And this, I can't remember if we used a voice in Heijen or added in a voice. Actually what I was doing at the time is I was pulling the audio from 11 Labs and putting the audio in. Not the script, just the audio, because that allowed it to sound more natural. In my opinion, 11 Labs gave you significantly more voices, more realistic voices at this point than were natively in Heijen. I honestly, I would argue is still the case. And you can play with the pauses and stuff in Heijen or in 11 Labs that you couldn't do here.
Well, yeah, that was another thing I was going to say back then, and maybe it's still true now, is in 11 Labs, you could go in there and if you wanted a longer pause or a shorter pause and speeding things up and slowing things up, you could do all that in the timeline right then. And that was, again, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And so in my opinion, I thought it was more realistic by working from the voice first and then giving that audio file to Heijen to animate the picture. And this is just a picture. Like, I mean, we've talked a little bit about UCG avatars now. This was just solidly a picture. There's no video, nothing. This is just a picture. Okay. And then just kind of using some like editing tricks to actually get it to look differently. So Dan was like, well, then what would it look like now? And so we have this.
And as we embark on a ghostly marketing journey, where the spirits of the past, present, and future have now converged. Our tale begins in the hallowed halls of history, with the ghost of marketing past. Behold Dan Kennedy, a marketing master who journeyed through the world of direct response advertising, leaving a lasting legacy in the realm of marketing. His timeless wisdom.
So that is the exact same thing as is on HeyGen, because, and show you this, it is right here in this project.
So you use the exact same image to start with?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Because one thing I noticed there is everything was moving. If you look at the arms on the jacket, even, you can see just as he's moving and as he's breathing, you can see the slight movements as he's talking and his body is moving around. Of course, the beard is moving, the hat, the everything else. The candles are both flickering. Snow
Not
is
much,
falling.
but yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and they're not. I mean, you and one flickering a lot because that's not natively what you want a candle to look like a candle. But so again, we started at the exact same place, which was a singular image that she generated 2.5 years ago.
The exact same image.
Well, yeah, good luck creating that image again. You can't, because AI is always going to give you something random.
And I wouldn't even have to figure out my Discord password, so that would be another problem.
Well, yeah,
get the image again, right?
And it's still in there.
Yeah, exactly. The cool thing about this is like this Avatar 5 was just released, I think, less than 2 weeks ago. And there's been a couple iterations of this, obviously 3, 4, and 5. I think this was
okay,
like
hang on.
5.
So what is Avatar 5? I don't know. Have a clue what Avatar 5 is.
It's just
first off, what are you in here? You're in HeyGen.
I'm in
right
HeyGen.
here.
Yep.
Okay.
app.heygen.com. It is just one of their models, basically. It's no different than Opus 4.6 or GBT5. It is their avatar model. So basically the operating system created avatars just got upgraded, and they're claiming it's a big upgrade. Now, I didn't run this with the other models just because like this was pretty impressive of what we were already at. So if we go back, and the only thing here with this, if I hit play now, you have to export it to actually see it animate. So here in HeyGen, you can type out your script, and you'll hear the voice, but you won't actually see the character move until you export it.
Okay, well, that makes sense. It has to be rendered
For
somehow
all
into a video. Again, now we're still looking at a still image at that point. But then also the original image did not come with whatever the TARDIS is right there in the middle. You're going, what's a TARDIS? Doctor Who?
It did.
The picture that you generated came with the Doctor Who TARDIS right there in the middle.
I used the exact same image.
Hopefully somebody will get my joke. You've never seen
a
Doctor Who, have you?
No, not really.
Oh, okay. TARDIS is a
It's
flying
right there.
British phone booth that flies through time and space.
It's right there. This is your video. It's right there.
Okay, that's okay. Now, does he move it? Have him pick it up. Oh, it is kind of moving around.
Just a little bit.
Have him pick it up and throw it at the camera.
So that would obviously then require a different software. We could do that. And everybody has to remember, like, you're like, well, that's not complete. That of course doesn't have the Dan Kennedy part in it. Like, it doesn't have that because the original video didn't have that. Like, that had to be cut in based on the video from Russell and from the competition. And so,
all the Dan Kennedy part that we all skipped over there. That was Russell's video. We just chopped it up and spliced it all together. That's all it was. And we did all this 2.5 years ago in a single evening. We basically got the task, and it was like it had to be done the next morning at 10 o'clock, and we had to build the sales page, write the script. Madison had to create this video here, everything in like overnight. But the point of the matter is so I guess the big question, you did this in HeyGen using a singular image. You could run this for 3 hours of this guy sitting there talking if you wanted to. It'd be pretty boring, but you could do that. How does this compare to the other video generation softwares? Now, what was the one that you turned me on to recently? Higgsfield?
Yep.
Okay.
So,
but again, there you are limited in the amount of length of the video and how
15
many
seconds.
credits you want to spend. And I don't know how HeyGen works on that. And there is some pretty cool stuff in there where you can take different pictures of somebody. So, I mean, the one example I saw, Spider-Man kind of character or something. And so a lot of, 4, 5, 6 different shots of this person from different angles and other people. And you got to take all these disparate parts and put them all together and then run the software. And then hopefully it'll spit out what you want. And then if it doesn't, you got to rerun it. Whereas here we're starting with a singular image, and you basically have full control of it because you're not relying on the AI to give whatever random generation is going to give you. And no matter how good your prompt is, you have to keep prompting and prompting and prompting until you get it right. Here, it's one shot.
Yeah. So what I did do, because we do like to be thorough here at Super Ambassadors Live, is I actually created a couple different clips. I'm going to play one of them here.
Come with me on a ghostly journey through the ages of marketing.
Uh-oh. It broke.
No, it's only 15 seconds. That's it. That's where it should
that
go.
Was it. Oh, that was the whole thing.
15 seconds.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. I thought we glitched there.
No.
So, okay, what did you create this with?
So I created this with I hit the wrong button. Let's see. I got a couple more here. I'll actually just share my screen on Higgsfield. I used Higgsfield for this using a Kling 3.0, which is just a different model. Oops, I gotta remove that one. Nope, I gotta remove that one. I gotta remove one of them. So then this would be the second clip. And that's obviously, then we cut to the Dan Kennedy stuff. And the cool thing about these is, like, you can edit these in how you want to, right? Like, you wouldn't have to keep them the same clip in the same order. You could cut and paste it in with the different, because it's what's called like a multi-shot.
Right. Well, yeah, and if I was going to say, if you ever watch TV, which every one of us has done, or movies or whatever, you really look at it, and the shots aren't more than, a few seconds for the most part. Even if somebody's making a speech, they're cutting to here and there and back and forth. And that's what keeps people's interest. If you just have a still shot of somebody talking for 15 minutes, it's usually pretty boring.
So the biggest thing, right, people are going to say is consistent character. How do you create a consistent character, especially when we have this guy? There's different angles, and obviously, like, the hat's not quite perfect. That is obviously probably a fault of Manus. So what I did is I actually took the screenshot from the video. That is the first. It's a screenshot from Dan's video that we had. And I asked it to create me a character reference sheet. So here we have a couple different angles. There's the close-up. There's the detail of the hat, the coat, the buttons, the color palette.
So now this was all right. You can create this right inside of Higgsfield?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then I had, just for kind of speeding up sake, is I actually had Manus create the different scenes that I wanted to do. So it came up with, like I said, create me a cinematic movie trailer for the Ghost of Marketing Past. And so it came up with all of these different shots.
Okay.
And then gave me the script here. So then I gave it the character reference. And I said, can you please give me each one of these first scenes? So it gave me this one.
No, that's just a still image. Then it's giving you. Okay.
Yep.
So it's not generating any video.
It can, though, but I said not to generate video.
Oh,
right?
man, it can do video.
You wanted
too?
that one to be Russell? Yeah. So then I kind of said I made it a little bit different. I said I want the narrator to be in every single one of them. And that's when it came down here and created that one. There's Santa Dan on a stage, podcast studio, and then the one on the street. And if we look at, I don't know where his hat goes, but you notice like that coat is pretty dang close to being very similar in terms of character reference.
Well, yeah, especially a dark jacket like that. Yeah, I mean, if it's off a little bit from scene to scene, people aren't going to notice it. I mean, unless they're really, really picking.
Yeah, but it didn't go from like brown to blue to green to yellow.
Oh, yeah. Oh yeah, no, the AI has gotten so much better.
Yeah.
For this.
So then what I did is over here. I don't know that this one's generated or not yet. We'll just zoom it down. I have to have a start frame. That's why it didn't go.
Well, I'm looking at the video on the right-hand side where the girl's hair turns into birds. Or something, and I'd be curious to see what it took to make that and what the prompts had to say to be able to generate something like that, and how many times did you have to run that to get it to work?
Probably not very many.
Okay, you think so?
So, yeah. So apparently, to have an end scene, I have to have a start frame, which I didn't currently put in there. But if we look through how I did this, is I went with this is the start image.
You are the ghost of M.
So obviously it got cut off there, but if I didn't have this, if I didn't have the start frame and I had an extra 3 seconds, he would have been able to finish that. So like if I use this as the start frame, which I actually could.
Well, I don't, because I don't know the storyline here. I don't know what the heck these people have to do with him yelling at you.
This is the ghost of marketing future.
Yeah, because Ghost of Marketing Past with Dan Kennedy, you'd have to have an old upright typewriter with a piece of paper stuck in it.
Yeah, this is marketing future.
I'm not kidding. That's where he started, obviously. He turned 70 last December or 71. I'm not sure which.
That's not that old, Dan.
Well, we're just thankful Dan's still with us after the health issues he had back in 2019. I mean, we all almost lost him at that point.
Yeah. So the other thing is here is you'll see in here there's this reference right here of these characters, these elements. And see, like it's tagged in right there. I called it Santa Dan. If we actually look in the elements here, I added in those photos from the character reference sheet that I got. So we have the first image, and I just took screenshots. I don't know if I still have that image open or not.
So you didn't take the actual images, you took a screen. Okay, because this is like one solid image here. So you just cropped out bits.
Just took little screenshots.
Stuck in as images. Okay.
Yep. And then also plugged in the first image from the video.
Okay, and you put all that right into as part of your prompt. Because I've used Higgsfield, just let everybody know, I've used Higgsfield like 1 or 2 times to make some very, very crude videos, but I wasn't looking for masterpieces. But it is pretty cool, and if you want to know how to use it, just do like everybody else does. Go to YouTube.
Yep.
I found a couple of videos there, and in 10 minutes, I was using the software and putting out videos.
Yep.
It's some pretty cool stuff.
So you can
now,
see.
Does this also do the voice? Or do you have to still, okay.
No,
so
it'll do the voice. Yeah.
Everything, soup to nuts.
Yep.
And you get to choose the different voices. So
no, you don't. That's the only thing. It will create a voice. That's my only complaint with Higgsfield. If you choose to go to Kling, which is just like, so using ChatGPT and I don't know, some other platform, you actually use the actual company. Basically, think of this as like OpenAI and Higgsfield is ChatGPT.
So in Higgsfield, you were using Kling inside of Higgsfield. So Higgsfield is just you can use all kinds of different. Can you use like Claude and ChatGPT and stuff like
No,
that
I
inside
think
of
it's
Higgsfield?
just
Or
image and video in
just
Higgsfield.
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So maybe Gemini or Nano Banana.
Nano Banana, and yep.
Yes.
So in here, this is how I create the Funnel Baby videos, and I'm able to actually create a voice in here and keep it much more consistent.
So you're doing that directly inside of Kling on this one.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's more in terms of like credit usage, and it's slower than Higgsfield, but I have that little more.
When you yell in my inbox all day, I just cover my ears. Anyway, I have an unsubscribe button to hit and a nap to take.
Those earbuds are kind of big on her.
It's the baby.
Well, yeah.
You know?
So you launched a new offer today, just like you did yesterday and the day before that, and at 2 this afternoon.
So it's the same concept, right? I have to create scenes because I'm limited to that 15 seconds maximum. I can make it shorter, and in here, I can have it create different shots, and this is the same model that I'm running over here in Higgsfield. I just don't have as many controls as I do, because in Kling there is actually a voice for Funnel Baby, that she has a voice that obviously is not her own voice, but is a voice that started in one video and I have kept throughout for the consistency of it.
Okay, now is this a voice you picked out of Kling?
It's a voice that it made first.
Okay, so it generated a voice, and then you said,
And then it's cloned it. Yep.
So when it created this voice, it gave it a name, and then
I gave it a name.
File, it gave it a file name.
Yeah.
And then you said, okay, just take this file name and use this file, this voice pattern across all the others. Okay.
And then just like we did over here by creating this element of a character, same thing in Kling. I just don't. Yeah, it doesn't give me the option to tag in a voice. When I do it, I have that option over here in Kling.
Well, when you create the character, can you create a voice along with the character? Because I saw one drop down there on the right hand side. It said character.
Yeah, nope. You can only have. So the category is character. You can just give it a name.
Oh, okay.
And upload the images. So that's your only options, unless somebody else knows something. I don't know. But here in Higgsfield, you can also come over here and clone the voice or change the voice of the video.
Okay. So if you can change the voice, can you then give it a voice file?
Yep.
Oh,
I think
okay,
you give it 11 labs. Yeah. That's just another step, right? And I'm just like, I'm okay paying with a little bit of time and a little bit of more money to not have to do that other step. So, especially like for Funnel Baby, right?
Yeah.
So this is the new one.
No, so you're talking more money. So you shoot yourself a 30-second video. What's it cost?
Maybe $2 or $3 more over a
much?
month, or $5 an extra month.
Well, I'm talking a singular 30-second video.
I mean,
we're talking pennies, dollar,
pennies, if that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right then. Yeah, it's like something I was working on the other day where I'm having to ping off of the AI, the API for Claude. And I was having a conversation with Claude as we're building this thing out. And I said, money's not an object. I already tested this thing. I can get 14 round trip queries to the AI for less than a penny.
Right.
I'm not worried if we double or triple the amount of compute that needs to go back and forth. I can handle 5 queries for a penny.
Yeah. Yeah. So this one is the one we created where we added in the first shot and then the last shot.
You are the ghost of marking. You are the marketing future. Claim your legacy now.
I'm wondering if I think
He got all angry there at the end.
he did.
But I like the morph of the scene from the one
You
scene
are
to
the
the other.
marketing future.
Yeah.
Claim your legacy now.
There
I
we
just
go.
want to know what happened to his hat.
I don't know. Well, it didn't have the hat in the photo either. So like if we'd had the hat on, then it would have put the hat on here. But yes,
Yeah.
I don't know why Manus did not put the hat on him for the last shot.
Yeah. Now, in a case like that, can you tell Manus now,
Yep.
okay, here's this image, put his hat on him.
Yep.
Hey, what's wrong with you? Why doesn't he have a hat?
Let's see if I've misspelled it. Let's see if it even picks up that I meant to say hat.
Now, I
Not hat.
will say something because I've been working with Claude a whole bunch more lately, and I hadn't really for like the last 2 months. And the one thing I found, especially over ChatGPT, is Claude is getting really good at allowing for very huge context windows and the ability to remember everything inside of that context window. And I don't know if Chat has caught up to that at all, because last time I used Chat, I had to just keep feeding stuff back into it. It's like, come on, or start a new chat, and that's such a pain in the ass. And so with Claude, I got one. I've been working in one chat for days now, and I said, you know, do you remember this, or do I need to put it? No, I remember it perfectly, and it did. I was like, holy cow, yeah. So that context window limit is really kind of gone away.
And I think this is the shift, right? This is the shift in AI. And while we're talking about AI, if you've not signed up for the challenge coming up on April 27th, there's probably a link somewhere you can find. I think it's AISecretsChallenge.com.
Well, I think what they should do is contact one of us, because we're all going to have all kinds of cool stuff for anybody who signs up, including we might even have daily calls after the event to be able to sit down and let's all chat about what's going on. But you wouldn't be able to get on those calls unless you talk to Madison and I ahead of time and got signed up for this thing. But that's all for another day.
Yeah.
In case of one person who's watching right now
who hasn't been signed up yet.
Yeah, hasn't signed up yet, they can contact one of the two of us and we'll get you all hooked up.
So yeah,
get you all the good stuff.
It added in his hat back to that, into that that picture. So all I'd have to do is change that as kind of the back frame.
Well, and it happened pretty quick because we weren't talking for very long now, and it added that right back in. And that's the other thing, is obviously all this stuff is getting faster and faster and faster all the time too. But the one thing, I saw James Curran saying something about, and I think it was on your show the other day. It's like, you got to be doing, when you're working with the AI, you got to be doing like 2 or 3 things at the same time, because when you ask it for something big, go make a sandwich and come back, because it still takes a while, which is fine. It's a lot less time than it would take you to do it manually. Because I'm looking at some of the stuff I'm coding now, and it's like, first off, I wouldn't even have known how to do half of what I'm doing now 6 months ago if it wasn't for AI. But the other thing, my suggestion to people would be, especially not necessarily the video stuff, because that's kind of a different realm, but anything you're working on with ChatGPT or Claude, if you're doing code, if you're just stop and ask it what it means as it gives you something. Okay, you just gave me this code. Explain to me, what does this code do? Because otherwise, when it comes to troubleshooting it later, you're going to have a huge, it'd be a lot easier to be able to troubleshoot it if you actually know what it is they gave you. And so many people think, I'm just going to do this vibe coding stuff and I'm going to put it out there to the world. Well, what happens when it stops working?
Yeah, exactly.
It's, if you can look at it and understand how it worked in the first place, then it's a lot easier to go back into the AI and go, okay, hey, this stopped working here, and I think it's because of this and that. And then it goes, oh, okay, you're right. Here, let's fix this.
Yeah,
It just
absolutely.
plus you learn. For me, when I'm doing it, it's like it's as much about learning as anything else. And so just heed my words if you wish, and if not, oh well, too bad for you. But yeah, AI stuff, probably next week we'll talk about AI. The whole week after that we'll all be talking about AI. And we have a few minutes left. I'm going to show something very, very forget it. We'll save it for next week.
Open loop.
Next week we'll have all kinds of AI stuff, including something really cool that I found, AI regarding YouTube. Which I'll show Madison this after we're off the air here today, but then next week we'll put it on our to-do list. So add that, unless you got something else, Madison, we might as well just wrap this one up a few minutes early today.
No, I'll just do a little teaser of something and say my understanding of what potentially could be talked about in the challenge, stuff we're already doing. So probably a good idea to join Dan and I's crazy things, because we're already building software that takes.
We have no idea what it is yet.
I'll show you
again. Show it again. I don't even know what you're talking about here. Meta just made something. Skip the struggle. What? ClickFunnels MCP server is here and it changes everything. What? How did we get in there? What? Who's that?
This is my own newsletter platform.
Oh my God. See, look what you can do. Look what can be done. So, all right. On that note, let's get out of here.
We'll see everybody next week.